If you need unlimited domination, clutch time, or anything else online or offline grinding, make sure you hit up RoseNBA on Twitter for quick, safe, and reliable grinding services. Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how you can win basically every single game in MyTEAM Unlimited much easier, and how you can have way more success in Unlimited. If you're a 40% win percentage player, this video can help you take that 40 to a 60%. If you're 60, maybe it takes you to an 80%. And then if you're an 80% player, you're already very, very good. But hopefully this video can give you some of the tips that'll help elevate your game to where you can win the vast majority of your games. So y'all can see I'm 115 and 8, 93.5 win percentage. Not only that, but I have not been dashboarding to save my record like a lot of people have. You'll see a few of the people at the top of the leaderboard. Obviously, we have a lot of boosters right now at the top of the leaderboard. Some of these accounts aren't legit accounts, but a lot of these people have records that are really, really good, but are dashboarding and closing app when they're losing the game to save their record, because that doesn't give them a loss. I have not been doing that, and I've won 115 of my games and only lost 8. So hopefully this video can give y'all a lot of tips and insight into how I'm able to have so much success in Unlimited and help y'all to be able to do so as well. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 8,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, and I would really appreciate your support if you haven't already, if you do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. The first thing we need to talk about is lineup construction. So let's take a look right here at our lineup real quickly. This is the lineup I'm running. Obviously, it is one of the better teams in the game. We got elite cards, but Donovan Mitchell and Derrick Rose, both free point guard options. I hope you picked up D-Mitch when he was available. And then if you have a trophy case point guard like D-Rose, that's going to help you out a lot as well. Iggy, also a free card. Hope y'all picked him up. Larry Johnson, also free, but requires a lot of grinding because you need 550 player cards, which basically requires you to get the vast majority of the token market cards, and then a few of the budget players and things like that. Pippen is also free. Again, make sure y'all are grinding for this card. And then the cards that actually cost MT on my team are Carmelo Anthony, Jaylen Brown, who I locked in, Jason Tatum, and then Blake and Chris Bosh. So pretty expensive team for sure, but a lot of free cards as well. And you can substitute a lot of guys in for these positions that aren't nearly as expensive, guys like Andre Kirilenko, Giannis, Paulo, a lot of guys like that can be substituted in and still play at a very, very high level. Danny Green at the 2, players like that. So you want to make sure you have a good lineup and you're using cards to their best of their abilities. Make sure you have spacing on the court. Really, unless you're running Wilt, I don't recommend running an inside center if at all possible, because Wilt is the only inside center that I think is truly elite in my team. And then you also want to make sure you have your defensive settings saved, which is right here under Coach Game Plan. Makes it easier every single game. I have a video on my defensive settings, so if y'all want to know what settings I'm running in game, make sure y'all check that out as well. Outside of that, that's about all you need to know in terms of lineup construction, things like that. And let's hop into a game and talk about what you can do in game, which is really the important part to give yourself the best opportunity for success. All right, hopping into this game, the first thing that I recommend doing in every game is coming over here in the pause menu to defensive settings and switching matchups. Our opponent has Brandon Jennings, Dominique Wilkins, Jeremy Sohan, Paulo, and Jalen Duren. Then off the bench, Jaden Ivey, Ochai Agbaji, Scotty Barnes, AK, and Mark Williams. So a pretty solid team. I want to put my point guard on a secondary ball handler, in this situation Dominique Wilkins, and then my lockdown defender, which is Scottie Pippen, on the primary ball handler, which is Brandon Jennings. Same thing off the bench. Want to put my point guard on the guy who's not going to be handling the ball nearly as much, which is Agbaji, and then put my bench lock, which is Iggy, on Jaden Ivey, who's his primary ball handler off the bench, just to put the best defenders on the guys who are going to be the primary ball handlers, like I just did as well. Want to make sure you put on your freelance every game. I made a video about why this freelance is the best freelance in the game, Bucks 2018, and how it allows you to 5 out. So if y'all want to check that out in addition to the defensive settings video, feel free to. And then adaptive coaching engine as well is something you want to turn off every single game, because it will allow you, it'll prevent your coach basically from making changes and things like that. But our opponent's got a pretty solid squad. Wouldn't say it's the best team in the game or anything like that, but it's definitely a pretty good team. So should be a pretty good example for this video about what you can do to give yourself the best chance of success. Let's see what his name is. He says, hey, Brett the Sweat. So let's see what his record is. 36 and 27. I'll be honest, that's not great. So hopefully we can get the job done pretty easily against this type of team. But what we lost the tip off, that's fine. Don't really have any in-game adjustments to make this year in terms of those. You just really want to try to cut off the rim run and the mash first, because that's really people's primary objective defensively. And you want to try to sag off of an inside center as well. For example, with my opponent running Jalen Duren, I want to sag off of Jalen Duren defensively and use Bosh as that defender to play a little bit more versatile on defense. And I threw it to the wrong icon. That was a complete accident right there, throwing it to the wrong icon. That was a mistake by me, but that's not bad defense. And he misses. That was actually I think he hit the green window there, just because the contest wasn't able to get the ball to score. So we put on our Bucks 2018 freelance right there in game, and now we're going to go into our pick and fade. My buttons are literally glitching right now. I don't know why they're doing that, but blowing right by, hit it to Tatum, and I throw another steal. I stink. What a terrible start. All right, so we're going to get into our offense. Ignore that first couple possessions because those are pretty ugly. Getting into our pick and pay, though, getting a nice little wide open look with Chris Bosh, and I missed it. That's on me. You could definitely recommend getting in freestyle to practice the jump shots of your players because at times you are going to miss like I did there, and that was on me. Because he's running that inside center and Jalen Duren, I can kind of sag pretty far off of him with Chris Bosh and play better interior defense against Paulo, which is kind of nice. It makes him having that power forward there and trying to mash when he has a mismatch with Donovan a bit harder to do just because I have the inside center to defend against it. That's a great lob right there. I'll give my opponent credit. That's a really, really good shot by him. But you just want to make life hard for your opponent on the defensive end of the court. And then offensively, you just want to take what's there. Like I got a wide open pop last possession and I missed it. I got a wide open pop this possession and I didn't miss it. Green light, easy bucket right there. There's not as much that goes into dribbling and things like that this year. It's still useful to know how to dribble and things like that. But this year, it's more of trying to just make sure you don't make a lot of mistakes as my opponent makes a mistake right there and goes out of bounds. Just trying to limit the drive primarily and the mash. That's what people are going to try to do offensively is just going to try to run around you. And it's pretty tough to do that successfully. I feel like if you play really, really solid defense, that's another pretty decent look right there with Bosh. I probably could have shot it, but I decided not to. And we're going to get into our drag back here. Jalen Brown's going to attack the middle. We're going to throw it into Bosh. We're going to go up and that's an easy dunk. Again, taking what is available there, running your pick and roll, using the freelance that you have enabled to create space, things like that are pretty crucial. With him putting Jerry West in the game, I could switch my matchups there and put Scottie Pippen on Jerry West, but for now, I'm not going to do that. I don't really think that's fully necessary. Just again, I'm trying to cut off the rim run first and foremost because shooting is kind of tough. So I'm just trying to prevent the rim run, make my opponent work for open shots. Not really over swinging too much on defense because throwing yourself out of position defensively this year is a killer as he gets a little bit lucky there and somehow my Scottie gets shrugged off of his Jeremy Sohan. But as y'all can see, I'm just trying to make my opponent's life tough defensively and then take quality shots offensively. Again, we got a great look there with Jalen Brown and we knock it down. That's why the importance of going into freestyle and making sure you know each player's release is crucial so that you can green consistently with them. Because if you don't green, the shots just aren't going to go in on online versus this year. So we're going to play the pop right here with Scottie Pippen. That's great defense. We just basically discouraged him from shooting the ball there with Paulo a little bit, coming back inside again because he's got Jalen Duren on the court and because Jalen Duren's an inside. We can sag down on it. He gets another lucky foul call, but already we're starting to I think, establish dominance a little bit in this game, despite the fact that he's gotten lucky on a couple of these animations. As y'all can see again defensively, we're just making him work every single possession, making him work. We're able to get him to force up a bad shot there. And with our 12-9 lead now, we're pushing the ball out in transition. Again, I'm really just going to take what's there. What's there this possession is the pop if he had caught the ball normally, which he didn't. So that's kind of annoying. Back cuts are also really useful this year. They dumb out the CPU much more than they have in previous years. So back cutting, especially if a player falls asleep or if their CPU is playing, the CPU defender is playing really far up on them, is a great strategy to get yourself good looks. And that's great defense. Again, wall up, make sure your player is inside of the player they're trying to attack, throw and mash with. And then if they draw a foul, get a fluke animation, things like that, you're going to live with it. Great bailout pass to the corner. Jalen Brown greens another three. And right there, as y'all can see, that's literally all it takes. I mean, it really is not that complicated in this game, I feel like, to have a lot of success in Unlimited. It's about your settings. It's about the way you play defense and then the way you play offense. I don't think I need to show that much more, to be completely honest, in terms of gameplay, because that pretty much shows the keys right there to having success in Unlimited. All right, so I know I didn't show a ton of gameplay in this video, but I think we did a good enough job of showcasing what you can do in Unlimited to have a lot of success. It really comes down to a few things. Number one, having quality settings with your defensive settings, putting your freelance on and offense so you can space the floor properly, whether you're calling 5 out with pass and screen away, which again, I made a video on if y'all want to take a look at that, and things like that, making sure you have your adaptive coaching engine up. You switch your matchup so that you have your lockdown defenders on their primary ball handlers and are hiding your point guards, and you're not as good defenders on the worst offensive players and worst dribblers, shot creators on your opposing team. And then when it comes to the actual game, trying to take quality shots every single possession, running your pick and fade, trying to have outside centers so that you can space the floor and slash through them with your point guard and then have the opportunity to shoot the three-pointer with your bigs. Defensively, cutting off the rim run and the mash first, making your opponents work for shots, not over swinging, not overdoing it defensively. It's pretty simple, to be completely honest, but if you do those things and then if you practice your releases in freestyle so that you can green open when your opponents make mistakes and when you do a good job of creating looks, is crucial as well. So to make sure that you can green consistently, because if you can't shoot in this game, you're not going to score much because people are just going to leave you wide open and you are going to struggle to score the ball because whites do not go in this game. So it's really not that complicated when you think about it, but if you can combo all those things together, you're going to have a ton more success than you may be having currently in Unlimited, and you're going to win the vast majority of your games. So hopefully this video did help y'all out. If it did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.